There are many pressing issues in America today.
The climate crisis continues to devastate communities across the nation. The cost of living crisis pushes more and more people into poverty, and millions of Americans are beset with stress over their well being, all whilst Congress approaches 1 month in shutdown. President Trump, however, has a more pressing concern. How long will it take until he gets his new ballroom? The plight of the everyman is alien to a man with more money than the average household could earn in 60,000 years. And fittingly, the despair of the USA is immaterial alongside the staggering new plans in Washington. Whilst federal workers queue at food banks, Trump's contractors have wasted no time ripping apart a national symbol, one step from a $300 million renovation plan outlined by the administration. The president claims the plans solve a problem for the American people and won't come at the expense of the taxpayer. Trump is, of course, a liar, so why anyone would believe this is beyond me. But regardless of the money's source, this is still an inordinate expenditure on what is, for all intents and purposes, a vanity project for an aspiring dictator.
A bit of analysis makes clear what is happening here.
Capitalist entities from across the economy have funded Trump's ballroom. They offer Trump economic capital, gain political capital, and remain in prime position to benefit from the mass deregulation such right-wing parties dedicate themselves to. Trump is a risible figure, but he is also the political leader, so his power is unquestioned. He commissions a blight upon the White House because he wants it, and flies to Asia in the midst of a government shutdown, whilst the political party he leads refuses to do anything about it. The demolition risks public and environmental health through the exposure of asbestos rife across early 20th century construction, something a Trump administration already knew was in the building. But objective scientific fact is relegated beneath the whims of the MAGA-led Republican Party, whose control of the Environmental Protection Agency sees it ditch safe policy for naked profiteering. Why worry about toxic chemicals when you can buy a cheap car? This is hypercapitalism, the concentration of political power to an elite few, the elimination of scientific or democratic consensus for the will of the in-group. This is fascism. Trump drapes himself in American flags because ultranationalism is a tool to power to satiate his fervent supporters whilst ruining many of their lives. The White House is a fitting metaphor for America at large, or really any society in late-stage capitalism, in which the obscene power of the capitalist class defiles its environment in the pursuit of achieving maximum capital.
I didn't think that things would get so bad and so obviously corrupt that Trump would literally build himself a golden ballroom in what's meant to be a democratic part of the US government. One of the symbols of American freedom, the White House, the idea we've elected our leader and he's just doing this. He's just putting himself in nicer conditions with his tacky ballroom and then flying off to Malaysia, flying away during a national shutdown. It's nakedly corrupt, and if you're still supporting Trump at this point, then you're basically saying you're fine with this. You're okay for many people to be forced into poverty whilst your leader does what he likes in government. And if that is the case, then so be it. You are a fascist. It's that's the case. It's staggering. It's a ridiculous situation, and Americans need to consider whether this is the system they want to live under. And everyone should, because it's not as though, as I said earlier, America is not the only country this sort of stuff is happening in. We in Britain and the rest of the world need to be alert to the dangers of fascism. As Martin Luther King Jr. said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. True words have seldom been spoken.